Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks Podcast. I would have done this on a live, but we'll still do it. We'll break it down, but just needed to talk about things, right? So this is the reaction show, and we're going to break down some of the things that have happened over the last 12 to 14 hours. Pretty much, basically, since Manchester United lost to Everton, 10-man Everton, need I say. It felt like, a defeat that we could not kind of deal with, or if a defeat that people could not handle, because obviously at the back of our minds or at the back of our hearts, we felt that that game was going to be like a banana peel, because you look at it and you think about the things that came before the game with regards to what looked like, the injury crisis, not injury crisis per se, but more of like the injury to Matheus Cunha and the team dynamics and the talk around tactics, the talk around players going to the AFCON with Benjamin Sesko out and talking about the strength in the midfield. Everything was building up to that game and the potential of it being a banana peel or banana skin game for us. But it is what it is. Now, I'm here, basically. I see things differently. I might not appeal to most fans, but I'm here to just basically tell you guys to calm down. That's pretty much what I'm here to do, to say. Just calm down. And I'll tell you why. Just sit back, relax, and I'll explain to you. I've got multiple points. I didn't know what the structure of this video was going to be like until I started to think deeper. And I've reflected on the defeat. I've reflected on how we lost. I was visibly annoyed and sad, I think, for the first time in a long while, with regards to how we have arranged, like how we had played the game and how we are coming into the game with so much confidence. But this is me telling you guys, especially Man United fans. I'm not talking to the Amorim outers, because obviously they've been waiting for a time like this. Calm down. There's no need to rush. There's no need to give up. There's no need to start feeling like, things are not panning out, so it's all bust. Calm down. And I'll explain to you. Just give me a few seconds and I will get right into all of the nitty-gritties and all of that. Then these are the kinds of things we're going to have conversations about when we do these on a live stream. But due to some family, commitments and stuff, I will not do the live stream now, probably later in the day. But like I said, there is reason for us as Manchester United fans to calm down. I know people might say, oh, we just lost to 10-men Everton. Yes. We just lost at Old Trafford. Yes. We've not lost to Everton in like 12, 13 years. Yes. But calm down. Calm down. The one thing that I know that has happened over the last couple of years, or over the last year since Amorim joined Man United, Monday made it 1 year since he took charge of Man United, Man United's first game, right? One thing that I will tell you for a fact that has happened is that Amorim ripped down everything and started from scratch. Ineos came, ripped down everything, despite the fact that they gave Erik ten Hag a contract and all of that. They ripped down everything and started from scratch, right? Now, the loss to Everton has sent parts of my United fan base into a meltdown. That's a fact. We can't take it away, right? But tonight, basically, like today, as depending on when you're watching it, we're going to break down, the reality with clarity. You hear things like, oh, back to normal service, the manager needs to go, I'll be stunned if he's still here in the job. Calm down. We're going to use logic. We're going to talk about perspective as well. And this is basically just a reaction show to what's going on. And we're here to tell you that it's not a crisis. And panic doesn't really help the matter. And the truth, and we're going to also tell you what the true takeaways from this game should be. I've done the takeaway show. I spun I spun 3 negatives and turned them to positives and all of that. Before we go to the reaction show proper, I'm going to read out a breaking news from Indy Kyler, basically. And then I'm also going to read out what Jamie Carragher had to say from Monday Night Football. And then I'll explain to you that the narrative is being pushed so that we as United fans can go into panic mode. According to sources last night, Ruben Amorim was absolutely furious with the left side of his team. Furious with the left side of his team. There was pretty much no attack there. Patrick Dogu was not doing much. Luke Shaw was trying to put crosses in, but it was problematic. Even if you want to be absolutely furious with the left side, you can also be absolutely furious with the right side because a lot wasn't going on there. Even Dalot that was brought onto the left didn't work. He says it is clear he felt they completely disregarded his tactical instructions. Okay, that is a news we can actually talk about. How did they do it? Were you there to see that they did it? What were the things that was expected? Were they expected to cross the ball? Were they expected to come as inside forwards? What were they supposed to do that led to, them being, defaulting or basically on the tactical instructions? Okay, when players don't listen, it disrupts the entire flow of the game. Amorim knows that success hinges on every player being on the same page, and he will let his feelings known to his players. They're definitely going to do it because they have training today. They're definitely going to, talk about all of that today as well. So we need to basically look at it from that perspective and think about the situation where, we as Man United fans need to now avoid being in panic mode. It's early days, obviously a quarter of the season, 12 games gone and all of that. Now, like I said, we're reacting to these things live, right? He will make his feelings known. Now, we'll go to another report or another quote from Jamie Carragher, because I was looking at, Liverpool lost. They've lost 6 and 7 Premier League games. In the Premier League, they've played 12 games. They've won 6 and lost 6, right? They're 18 points. They're 12th in the table. Jamie Carragher questions Amorim's system. As always, he has been questioning Amorim's system, but I've never seen a quote put out by Sky Sports that Jamie Carragher is questioning Arne Slot's system. He says, Ruben Amorim feels like the first manager who I've seen who sticks with his system rather than an idea of how to play. You have never managed in your life, so you cannot know. It's easier for you to say things as a pundit than to say it, than to actually show working, right? He says, I think it's one of those moments where a lot of people would really question the manager on the back of that defeat. The manager would take a lot of blame for tonight. I put out some clips yesterday. I talked about it, and I'm going to talk about it now. Ruben Amorim took full responsibility of the defeat. He said that there were certain times when they needed to manage certain situations. He's supposed to be telling his players and ingraining it in them, reminding them, because certain things happen in the moment. If you've played football before, you will understand that certain things happen in the moment you tend to forget, especially when you're playing a team that is you're playing against 10 men, right? There's certain things. One thing I noticed, even from the commentary, you could actually tell. One thing I noticed was the fact that Ruben Amorim was shocked. And he said he was not against teams fighting each other to try to demand the best from each other. Ruben Amorim was shocked that, the whole team, in fact, both Everton and Man United were shocked that Idrissa Gueye got a red card. Idrissa Gueye got a red card. The whole team was shocked. Because why would he get a red card for actually challenging his own teammate? But they saw it as violence because he actually slapped Michael Keane, right? When you think about it like that, think about it from that perspective, you tend to kind of ask yourself certain questions. Now, everybody was surprised. Everybody was in shock and all of that. Now, Ruben Amorim came out and says, I took the blame. Even when the journalists were asking questions about, we know that you are supposed to take the blame, but also the blame needs to come to the player, blah, blah, blah. He said, I take the blame. Now I'm seeing things. I'm seeing big content creators put out content like, Amorim sacking, or Amorim sacked, Amorim to be sacked, what? 12 games. We're going for the league. The manager has not been backed when it comes to midfield signings. We're planning to sign midfielders in January, and you're thinking about sacking. Slot has lost the plot, but nobody's talking about it. Maybe some fans. even Jamie Carragher is not talking about it. You see how measured he was in his analysis. But when it comes to Amorim, it's the tactics. When Man United lose, it's the tactics. When Man United win, it's they're trying to scrape through wins. I've seen that on Sky Sports and on TalkSport. Now, another one is from Martin. I always like to read Martin Ball's tweets, and he says there's no excuses for Amorim. Don't get this wrong. He should be as ashamed as the players. And you could see how Amorim's demeanor was yesterday. He was ashamed that we couldn't beat Everton, who were in a low block, 10 men, and all of that. He said, but do these players need Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep as their manager to score one goal against 10 men Everton? That's a question. 80 minutes with more players on the pitch, 80 minutes. This performance is genuinely disrespectful to the fans. Somebody from above needs to have a word with the manager and these players, because losing is one thing, but losing like this is genuinely disrespectful. And that's that is a genuine response from a fan who understands what it means to basically back a team, but also take responsibility and demand for the team to take accountability and all of that. You see this one from a Real Madrid fans. He says Real Madrid are currently top of La Liga, and I'll break it down for you. Real Madrid are currently top of La Liga, yet the fan base is calling for Alonso to go because they think the team isn't playing good football. Liverpool fans are calling for Slot to be sacked despite him winning them the Premier League title last season. But this man, who finished 15th in the league last season, has just 12 wins in a year and lost European final to Spurs, apparently setting standards and building a family atmosphere at Manchester United. And you can see that this is all banter. This is all banter and all of that. Now, when you think about it from that perspective, yeah, Amorim finished 15th, but he didn't start the way Slot started. He didn't come and meet a team that was losing. Slot came and met a team that was winning, took the team that was winning and won the league, and then eventually can't defend the league. Brought in his own players and he's casting. You think about it, for Ruben Amorim, he came and met a team that was struggling in his third year under a manager in Erik ten Hag. And he ripped everything down and started from scratch. Obviously, he needed to take out the players that needed to go so that he can actually build his own team and bring in his own player. And if you judge him based on this season, the total number of games he's played, he hasn't done as bad as people are putting it to be. Bruno Fernandes on his position, he says, I'm a player who plays the ball forward a lot of times, break the lines. We have 2 number 10s who need service to play the balls through. That's why the manager wants me there, to have more of the ball and to control the tempo of the team. Pretty much straightforward. People are already saying, he's being shoehorned into the position that he's not supposed to play, when you could play Kobe Mainoo and stuff. And we'll come to Kobe Mainoo. He knows I can run a lot, press high, get my body back there when we need to get to the box and defend. And Bruno, barring 1 or 2 passes where he missed, he was trying to make things happen. We brought on Kobe Mainoo. He still wasn't up to the races and up to speed. Despite the fact that, obviously, Kobe Mainoo should be starting ahead of Manuel Ugarte. Kobe Mainoo should be starting ahead of Casemiro. We brought on Kobe Mainoo still. And we brought on Kobe Mainoo because we saddled with a lot of defensive responsibilities. But it is what it is. We as Man United fans, we want to panic about everything. We want to react to whatever is put out in the media and all of that. Yeah. Now, I see a video of players, feeling down and feeling bad. These guys are feeling ashamed. And somebody says Brian Mbeumo was the only one being positive at full time. It says it all really. Yeah, positive. Yeah, he was really annoyed at the things, but you have to pick it up and move on. Like this game has to be the only game where you just kind of, okay, it has happened. The next couple of hours, we move on. That's what it is. Brian Mbeumo was feeling very, very sad as well because he came off losing a World Cup place, a World Cup qualifying place with Cameroon. So he's supposed to even feel even more sad. This is back-to-back games losing. So I can understand, right? But he was in this video, I can see him literally just, clapping for the players and all of that. Bruno and all the other players were down, sad and annoyed. Yeah, we couldn't break down a low block, and that is what the situation is. Now to the reaction show proper. I basically had to touch on a few things before we get to the reaction show. Why United's performance wasn't as disastrous as people think. Yes, obviously, there are so many factors around that. The players didn't do well, but it's not the disaster. It's a whole team collective that led to us not being able to, defeat Everton or even score a goal or even get a draw. Because even if we won, they'll say, oh, you won against 10-man Everton. You drew. They'll say, oh, you drew to 10-man Everton when you should have won the game. We've lost. Now we've lost to 10-man Everton. So we're doomed if you do, we're doomed if you don't. That's what it is. Now, the performance wasn't as disastrous as many people may think, but the stats don't look good, which is a fact. But we have to also spin the negatives into positives and move on from the situation. Because when you have to now think about it and you have to now ask certain specific questions, you will now understand that certain narratives are being pushed already by the media, right? Now, it has led us to the second point, which we're going to talk about in this reaction with regards to the overreaction from the fan base. The fan base just want to win, but obviously they've been waiting for 5 weeks. Those that thrive on United, that don't like Ruben Amorim or thrive on United's defeat, have been waiting for something to happen. When we've been drawing, it has been coming up and all of that. We've played 6 games, and of the 6 games, we've played 6 games. Of the 6 games, we've had 3 wins, we've had 2 draws and 1 loss, and it looks like it is chaos. Meanwhile, a team like Liverpool, defending champions of the world, as they call themselves, have played these same 6 games and lost 5. Of 7 games that they've played, they've lost 6. Just to give you a bit of a context. So it is not as bad as it seems, because the truth is, I've seen some fan bases, some fans say United are irrelevant and all of that. Trust me, we're cooking. Trust me. Because in truth, certain things need to be put in place to achieve success. First, we need to strengthen. We need to strengthen in midfield. We need to also strengthen in attack. In as much as we spend over 200 million in that attack line, we also need at least one more body. And we also need one more body or 2 bodies in defense, especially in wing-back positions. So we need to strengthen. There's visible gaps in this squad. There's visible gaps in this team. If you're talking about bringing players from the academy, that is also going to be a challenge, because there is also a gap. I said this, and Amorim actually even confirmed it. There is a gap in disparity when it comes to how the team is shaped, especially from the academy. Now, we as fans are looking for opportunities to overreact. And I'm saying we as fans because sometimes we overreact when in the moment, yes, it's very painful to lose. It's very painful to see defeat. But we've seen worse. Last season, we saw worse. At the beginning of the season, when Ten Hag was losing, we saw it, right? If we check where Man United was, we're going to check it live, right? Literally, like while reacting, where Man United was after 12 league games in 2024-2025 season. Right? Now, in the 2024-25 season, we're going to look at what was the position, how many points did we have and everything. Like, now, after 12 matches, in the 24-25 season, Manchester United was in 10th place, right? Now, we played 12 matches. We won 5. We drew 3. So this is basically pretty much, we drew 3 and we lost 4 after 12 games, right? 15 goals scored, 17 goals conceded. Goals difference was -2, points was 18. This time last season, we were here. This time, in this season, we've played 12 games, we've won 5, we've drawn 3, we've lost 4, and we have basically scored 19 goals and conceded 19 goals as well, right? And we have 18 points. Now, the manager in charge at the time, just to give you a context of the season, was replaced by Amorim after this start. And guess what? The manager just won 2 trophies in 2 seasons and was in his 3rd season. And we're going through a transition in the ownership and all of that. That's the context. Now, Erik ten Hag was replaced by Amorim following a poor start to the campaign, which saw the team with just 12 points after 10 games. Right? United was part of a 4-way tie for 10th place, and later in the season, by match day 13, the team moved up to 9th in the league table. But by the time Ruben Amorim was going to take over, we were already 13th. So that gives you a bit of a context, right? So we have to look at it from that perspective and think about it. Now, let's look at Ruben Amorim's project, which is the next point on this list that we have here. Ruben Amorim's project is still on track. Trust me. Barring the injury to Šeško and Cunha, that game could have been something else. I know that Cunha being in that team yesterday would have been different, right? Would have been different. But then people are still going to call, oh, why don't we start Xerxes? Xerxes is a baller. This, da. The truth is, Xerxes is very important to this team, but we as Man United fans are too impatient to understand what is going on, right? Xerxes is important to this team, and Xerxes is also, according to Amorim, he has said it time and again, that Xerxes is the caliber of player. This is what Amorim says. Amorim on Xerxes, he says, I just want to see Josh playing well with the quality he has. We have a problem with Ben Šeško, no doubt. We have a problem with Cunha, no doubt. He is working in that position. That is Xerxes working in that position. And if you look at our team, I think Josh has more or less the same characteristics as Cunha in that position. We want to maintain what we worked with during the week, and he is ready. That's a fact. Another fan says Xerxes is not rubbish. This is what happens when you sit on the bench for the first 4 months of the season and get thrown in without any match rhythm or expected to perform in the Prem. Same thing has happened when Menu last played. People started calling him rubbish. That is fact. So these are the things. Ruben Amorim is going to try to make players happy, but you can't spend 200 million on your attack line and then have the attack sit on the bench. So you have to choose one and go with your gut. And it more often than not, Ruben Amorim's gut has worked, and all of that. So we have to just think about it from that perspective. That Xerxes was a bit rusty, but give him much match sharpness, and then you have something to go with. And I will quote someone I watch a lot. I watch a lot of his content. He's MUFC, a big content creator on YouTube and social media. He says he was quoting Man United media on X. He says questions will be asked about Amorim's position as United manager after that, and rightly so. Shocking management to keep 3 CBs on the pitch, basically doing nothing, is unforgivable. Come on. And then Matias says, here we go again. So it tells you a whole lot about this fan base. Everybody's waiting for him to basically for him to fail. Because 5 weeks ago we were in the doldrums. 5 weeks later we were on 5-game unbeaten streak, and then obviously with the manager of the month on the cards and all of that, and then obviously at this point he's going to be questioned. Like, are you guys kidding me right now? Anyway, like I said, at this point in time we need to back the manager. Right now, what was the problem from yesterday? Because Amorim's plan is still on track. The players that were injured, once they come back, we still hit top gear. We just didn't enter second gear in the game against Everton. Talking about 3 centre backs, are you saying we should have brought on a striker? Who could we have brought on? Shelesi? Let's look at those who were on the bench yesterday. Because the truth is, you talk about, it's criminal to keep 3 centre backs on the field of play while we were losing to Everton. Okay, let's give it a bit of a context. Let's look at what we had on the bench that Ruben Amorim could have brought on to change the game? That you guys are saying, oh, it's criminal to leave centre backs on the bench. Okay, let's look at the lineup. Now, on the lineup, who did we have that Ruben Amorim could have brought on? Because when you think about it, who did we have? Because these are the Ruben Amorim stuff. Mason Mount, attacking substitution. Diogo Dalot, potentially attacking substitution. Kobe Menu, midfield control, attacking substitution as well. 46, 58, 58. These were the times he made the subs. Who do we have left on the bench that you could say that basically could have changed the game without being a centre-back? Atabende is a goalkeeper. Aiden Heavens, centre-back. Lisandro Martinez, centre-back. Tyrell Malacia, wing-back. Manuel Ugarte, midfielder. Shea Lacey, the only attacker there. That's to tell you that it's a pointless, baseless point to make that you say it's criminal to leave 3 centre-backs. What did you think Luke Shaw was trying to do on the left side while pushing Dogo up top? Trying to put crosses in, trying to infiltrate the attack there. But Everton were defending very deep. Okay, let's go to the next point. Finishing and sharpness, not tactics, were the key issues. Finishing, sharpness, rhythm, speed, intensity, these were the issues on the game, not tactics. Tactics were right, players were put in the right position, told to play what they were supposed to play, given the right instructions and all of that. Finishing was the problem. We just didn't finish. These were the key issues. You have to also think about Jordan Pickford. Excuse me, which is the next point I have. Jordan Pickford's brilliance versus poor finishing, right? It ties to the previous one. Finishing and sharpness, not tactics. Now, Jordan Pickford was good on the day. On a very good day last season, we scored 4 goals against Everton in Amorim's first game facing Everton. 4-0, right? And Pickford was still in goal then. Pickford now was just brilliant on the day. Bruno had a couple shots that he saved. Bruno had shots that went wide. De Ligt had shots, 2 shots. Xerxes had 3, 2 on target. Ahmad had 1 directly close to him. Imagine in a game like that and Pickford is man of the match. 9.0 or 9.1 according to FOPMob. Think about it. We're looking at Pickford's stats. 90 minutes, he made 6 saves and all 6 saves were on target. XG shots on target, XG on target faced 1.85, so could have scored 2. Goals prevented 1.85, so we could have scored 2 at least. He acted as a sweeper twice. Accurate passes 22 of 45. 2 punches, 1 throw, 3 saves inside the box, 4 diving saves, 9 recoveries. Come on. He had 54 touches. So he was basically the man of the match. Not the goal scorer, Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Not Jack Grealish, who had a very poor game, by the way, and was injured, eventually came off at the 87th minute, tried to play through the injury, but not James Garner, who created the assist. Not Iliman Ndiaye, who had a poor game as well. Or Seamus Coleman, or even Carlos Alcaraz, Dwight McNeil, Beto, Timmy Rebunam, Jacob Bryan, Barry, none of these players, even Mikalenko, none of these players got man of the match. Even Tarkowski, who is pretty much a legend to Everton fans, 33-year-old Tarkowski, hear this, James Tarkowski had the least touches, 31 of any outfield player who played 90 minutes. Michael Keane as well. It is Jordan Pickford doing his job, saving. Okay. So basically, Pickford's brilliance versus poor finishing, that was what really led to Man United not winning that game. Now, dropping points at the early stage of the season doesn't really define the season, because we've seen teams who start really strong, i.e. Tottenham, and finished really poorly. Now, we have to also think about United's structure and identity, right? Tottenham Hotspur last season, before we get to structure, Tottenham started really well with, I think, 5 games winning, I think. And then eventually they dropped off, and then they had 17 or 18 defeats, 22 defeats. And then they won the league, the cup, and they sacked the manager. So you think about it. Arne Slot, so far in 2025, has lost more games than Ruben Amorim. 18, Ruben Amorim, 16. Think about it. 16 or 17. Think about it. Arne Slot is supposedly a title winner. Which title winner? Even Pep hasn't done that before. Which title winner goes on and cannot even defend the title or even challenge after 12 games? So it's still early days. Anything can happen. Early days, 12 games, potential maybe 40 points, and then already you are on 18. Come on, guys. Now, it doesn't define the season when you drop points early. It's just you have to learn from it and keep that consistency going. If we didn't concede, that would have been a different thing. But we conceded even with a red card, right? The red card happened 13 minutes, concession happened 29 minutes, right? So now, wrapping up or getting to the last couple points, United's structure and identity and progress remains intact. I said it at the top, and I'm saying it now towards the end. United structure and identity and progress still remain intact. With the right players, especially when it comes to the potential targets and signings in the winter window, we can achieve success. Calm heads are needed now more than ever, especially when it comes to fans, in reaction to what the media is putting out there, in reaction to how Manchester United fans are being perceived. You have to stay calm. You have to stay calm, basically. It is very important. It is very, very important that Man United fans need to calm down. Big content creators, you don't need to blow things out of proportion. You look at Mark Goldbridge when he put out stuff yesterday, he said, sack 'em all. I'm sure if you go through the video, I think I didn't get a chance to watch the video, but if you go through the video, he wasn't really saying sack 'em all. It was like, this performance was unacceptable, pretty much. Then you talk about maybe the top ones like Steve Howson, who said, okay, basically, this is unacceptable. These are content creators you watch, especially Steve Howson, you watch and you hear reasonable analysis, even though there are some reactions in the moment that you have to actually think to yourself, what next and all of that. You look at Stretford Post, my good friend Sal, said the same thing. Atrocious and unacceptable performance. That's the point, and that's the thing. We as Man United fans need to calm down. In situations like this, you don't need to overreact, because we need to back our team. We need to back the manager. We need to, challenge what the mainstream media is putting out there to try to create a scenario where it looks like Man United are in crisis, yet a team like Liverpool, 6 losses, are actually in crisis. For a team that lost 9 games in total all through last season, what are the chances they're going to lose another 3 to maintain? Because right now, with the way Arsenal is going, I don't think a team that lost 9 games can actually win the league. Maybe the max is 4. You can lose 4 or 5 games. But guess what? Liverpool have lost 6. I'm not comparing my team with Liverpool team because they won the league last season, but I'm just trying to tell you that the narrative is designed by those who put it out there, especially in the mainstream media. So we as Man United fans need to calm down. I could do this more on a live where we'll talk about it, as well as break down what the media is saying, as well as breaking down what the transfer rumors are saying and all of that. But calm down. That is what we need right now. Focus on the next game. Crystal Palace is a much tougher game, and it's happening on Sunday. So we need to calm down and focus on that game to know how we can be able to defeat or play in that game at Sellers Park, where we lost last season. Calm down. Thank you so much for watching. If you have watched so far to this point, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so we can continue to have very sensible and common sense kind of conversations like these, talking about Manchester United and all things, Man United and all. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless. And I really apologize that I've gone live today, so we can have these conversations much longer. But due to some family reasons, I have to, go away. Same thing that happened yesterday. It's kind of pretty much happening today. But yeah, everything's all good. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.